3, 2, 1. Welcome to another new launch review brought to you by JNA Real Estate, and today we'll be covering specifically
Lentor Mansion.
That's right, one of the most exciting launches in the market. And you know, recently we saw a couple of hardware zone forums about us. Okay, so I'm just quite thankful because thank you for the supporters who say that they truly enjoy our video. Thank you so much. You know, there's a lot of hard work that's put behind the scenes, and some people said that Lentoria was a hard sell by me.
Yeah.
It is not a hard sell because I said avoid and wait for a lot of the new launches. But is this a new launch that I truly believe in? Yeah. It's the same lah. You know, 3 years back, 4 years back, when we were asking people to consider Affinity at Serangoon and Treasure at Tampines, when the pricing was good, people said it was a hard sell. But it wasn't, and all our clients have made money, right? So as you know, right, if you follow us for some time, we believe in two main things when it comes to investments. Number one, don't bring the emotions into the table. Look at the numbers purely. Number two, we have to be objective. And of course, at the end, there's going to be a BOA approach.
Buy, wait,
or avoid.
Yeah.
That's right, for Lentor Mansion. And the answer is going to surprise you, so stay till the end of the video. So for those who don't know Grace, right, Grace has just recently been promoted to our team lead investments team. And how will she be promoted, right? What's the reason behind it? It's because herself, under her care, right, she has done, I think, close to 50 to 60 transactions in the past 2 years, right? And all of which have made profitability already. So that is actually the grueling task that the investment lead has to go through before they can take lead, right? So you may be wondering, why is our director of investments not here? And the reason behind that is because our director of investments is also very busy with the investment side. So now in the videos, we have decided that it will mostly be me as well as Grace to be bringing you the new launch review. But nothing's going to change. What's most important is that we're just going to be real for consumers, because this is also by consumers. Ourselves, we are investors too. I think Grace recently did a co-living project as well.
Yeah.
It was very interesting because the yield was really high. And I myself, I think most of you guys know, I also invested in 2 properties already. And you know, this is just
people are saying that you are a supporter for D15.
Oh, I love D15. Okay, but not all D15 launches can buy. Okay, before I say that, okay, District 15 specifically, okay, if you have watched our previous D15 videos, you know which one we can consider or buy. Okay, a lot of them we say avoid. Okay, I love D15 because east side is, I'm a traitor to the west side lah.
He's like, someone's going to move from Choa Chu Kang all the way to the east. So it's not true that people move back to the same area also.
That's right. So every single time when I hear developers pitch or agency pitches that, you know, people are just going to stay in the same area, that's not true because I shifted from the west to the east.
He's cycling the whole office to move to the east.
Absolutely. And I know that Geraldine is going. Grace most likely will be shifting. Alvin is going to the east. Chris, not yet lah. Chris, I think most likely will be
more work needs to be done on Chris.
Absolutely. Okay, so without further ado, let's start our analysis for Lentor Mansion. Grace, take it away.
So just before we begin, I think just to share some of the background on the investment clients that we've served and our track
increased.
Yeah.
Yes.
From the last time that we shared. So after doing the numbers, we've served over 408 investment clients with an average of 19.84% per annum annualized gains on the equity, meaning the down payment that they actually put in. So these are some of the track records that we did for our past clients also.
Yes, I love this because you know what's the funniest thing? In the past, people always see real estate investments as purely a rental play, right?
Yeah.
Rental play, whether is it in Singapore, you can get about 3.5 to 6%, depending on where you buy.
Chris can maybe get higher.
Chris maybe can get like 16 to 18%. But the amazing thing about this is that in terms of capital appreciation, 19.84%, with some investment clients here who mix up their own stay element in it, right? It's actually not too shabby because when I was looking at my own stock portfolio, yeah, I mean, some stocks can do better, but also the volatility is something that I cannot sleep with. So real estate is something for individuals who specifically want that kind of steady growth and steady returns. Yeah. Okay, let's go on to Lentor Mansion. Let's talk a little bit more about the project information. And before we carry on this video is sponsored by the QR code that's going to be over here. So please scan the QR code if you are planning to join our Telegram community. If you have any investment-related questions or simply just want JNA Real Estate to help you with the sale of your home. Fun fact, out of 2,000 homes we have sold, 80% had hit record transactions. And not only that, 50% still stay at the top as the king of transaction, which we're very happy because your time has changed.
So you can check out our Locket series.
That's right. And if you're interested to contact us, you can contact JDart, our virtual assistant who will be answering all your queries because we are a tech team. All right, so back to Lentor Mansion. The slides are going to be a little shorter today.
Yeah. Because
we want to be succinct because a lot of people say they were very long-winded.
But I think if you want to find out more about like Lentor area analysis in general, you can hit to our previous video
That's
on
right.
Lentoria. That one we did a little bit more in depth in the area itself. So today we mainly be looking at how Lentor Mansion is going to be doing in terms of floor plan in comparison to like the other developments in the Lentor area.
Yes, because from first glance, Lentor Mansion per square foot is higher. But the answer is going to surprise you. Why so? Right? Why so? Okay, let's talk about Lentor Mansion.
So some background information is one of the biggest plot in the Lentor area of the land site being about 235,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Plot ratio, we have about 2.1. Total number of units, very mid-sized development of about 533. So very, very healthy units also. Like most of the other plots in the area, it's by Guoco Land and Hong Leong. So we're going to have 6 plots that's going to be up to about 12 stories high.
I love this because 533 units, even though it's quite average compared to the entire Lentor collective,
Yeah.
right? But it's quite a big development, and I love this because the transaction volume is going to be healthy in the resale market. Yeah. Okay, let's go on and talk a little bit more about the surrounding land plot launches, which is not new to those who follow our content. Okay, but we're going to go through it again to be long-winded again.
So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plots. One of it, the yellow one, hasn't been bidded yet, but the rest has been out. So now your Lentor Modern was the first, then we had Hillock Green, Lentor Hill Parcel A, which is Lentor Hill Residence. Then we had Lentoria, which has launched. The booking day is this Saturday. Upcoming, which is what we're going to be discussing today, Lentor Mansion. Then we have Lentor Central Residences.
If you see us at the show flat for Lentoria or Lentor Mansion, right, just say hi, okay? Pop by and say hi. Because we are there. We are going to be there. Yeah.
Yeah, so for the difference in terms of Lentor Mansion, it's the first land plot that is going to be under the area harmonization ruling. And we've kind of discussed area harmonization, what it does also in a previous video, so you can head back. I think the last time when a client actually met us, he say, I mean, I love your videos, but you guys, like, you know, for every single video, we kind of repeat ourselves. It's a bit long-winded. So I think more to provide information for those who are newly watching our video.
Absolutely.
But yeah, if you want to know more about area harmonization, you can also head on to our previous videos to understand a little bit more in depth.
I think since last year till this year, we've repeated area harmonization 10 times.
Yes, in all our videos.
And plus webinars. So why is area harmonization so important? Because this is also one of the biggest reasons as to why you may be thinking, why some per square foot seems to be higher?
Yeah.
And the rationale behind that is because of the area harmonization effect that we talked about, right? So please go refer to the previous video so that we don't be too long-winded.
Yeah, so if you look at the slides, for instance, in terms of land deed, before people actually understand like area harmonization, they'll be surprised to see how come there's 2 plots of land, when you see their break-even pricings, right? Those that were before area harmonization, you can see it's about 1,008-ish, 1,009-ish, close to 2,000, and then suddenly it dropped to like 1,007-ish.
Yep.
Yeah, so back then it was a concern if, you know, this was like a fear from developer in terms of like the bidding price, and that's why they're not confident to move forward. But later on, we'll kind of see how even though a lower landed price may not equate to a lower launch price by the developers.
Absolutely. All right.
So one thing to also note for Lentor Mansion is that even though it's one of the biggest plots, it's one of the lowest density development in the Lentor area, meaning you get more communal space. It's not as clustered. I know clients who don't really like too many people because they feel like, they don't have the privacy in that sense.
Yeah.
So if you're someone who like low density projects, this may be one that you can also consider.
That being said, I checked with some of our clients who are staying in Treasure at Tampines. Actually, this Thursday, as of the 28th of February, I'm going to have a meal with one of our clients who bought 2 units at Treasure at Tampines and profited a 1 mil plus. It's early 30 couples, right? And they say they enjoy it even though there's 2,100 units. Okay, and why? Because I think development density is important.
Yeah.
Right? Because if the development density is a little lower, even though there's a lot of units, that's okay because the land size is actually going to be very, very big, right? But if it's very small land size and there's so many units, then I'll understand there may be some congestion that will happen as you get out of your house.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the pricings. Not all the floor plans are out, so what we provide today, I think just a disclaimer, is based on all the information that we have, but based on the launch day when more floor plans are out or accurate pricings are out, then you can actually contact us to get a more in-depth analysis on it.
That's right. So as we launch this video, the floor plan will be coming out on the 1st of March and the full floor plans for some of the units. So as of the 28th of February, right now, we don't have the full floor plan, but we know that there are a lot of people who want to know our review for Lentor Mansion.
Yes.
That's why we're rushing it out. But you can be assured that the pricing, we are one of the first few teams who have the pricing because we are not only in the largest listed agency in Singapore, but also we have the resources from the developers themselves to be able to know what is the accurate pricing that is launching. Okay, so this will be the accurate pricing that you're gonna see. And on first glance, right, if we go on to the next slide at the unit mix, right, I think it's going to be very, very interesting because majority of the units are actually the 2-bedders.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a little bit contentious because in the 2-bedroom units, you are seeing that there are some at 527 square feet. And then there's 657 square feet. And the 3-bedroom at 786, okay, quite okay size. The rest, I think, is still okay. But the 527 one is worrying me a little. So let's just give our opinion later on and see whether, in terms of the resellability, will there be demand actually? Yeah.
So maybe just to give an overview, we are looking at like 2 betas from 527 to 657 and starting price is from 1.149.
Very attractive.
Yes, it is something that is very, very attractive. But one thing to note, at 527, we have to see how developers maybe play out in terms of how they actually fit like a 2 beta in maybe a 1+ study that would have been in other development.
Absolutely. So I think most importantly is the utilizable space, right? I know a lot of people, young couples right here will be thinking about a $1.1 million entry price because this will be the key selling point. I think you're going to watch a lot of TikTok, a lot of YouTube, a lot of Facebook. It's going to say, Lentor Mansion 1.1 million. Okay, most importantly, remember this. Whenever you think that this is going to be your forever home, okay, it's not. We had that so many times, right? Because after 5 years, after 10 years, as you advance in your career, you're going to be like, I think I want a bigger space.
And if you're going to have a kid, like Jarvis.
Yes. Oh, okay. Let's pitch that. Okay, hopefully in the near future. But that was an example. Let's share a personal anecdote of mine, right? Actually, when I bought Twin View at the start, then we have no investment team, we have no analysis. It was just whatever our agency say, we just buy, right?
Yeah.
I got it at 732 square feet, a 2+2, right? And I can tell you openly, I could have waited longer, but the prices that I want to enter for the next few developments is going to increase. Firstly, it's not easy to sell. Okay, and number two, when I opened the door, I remember I said, this is going to be my forever home. Okay, Penny, let's have a room so that we can have a kid and stuff. When I opened the door, I say, let's sell it. So it was started off as a forever home, and then it became an immediate let's flip investment home, That's why our marriage plans got delayed until now. Now we're going to get married. Actually, we're supposed to get married at 24, 25.
Yeah, so I think at different phases, we kind of see things differently. Something that you think now would be a forever home, 5 to 10 years later now.
Change. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in that sense, important to also, I would say, make the purchase flexible.
Yes.
In case, plans have changed, you want to make sure that the resellability is there also.
Yes, to give you some handlebars, if you are under the age of 30 right now, okay, please see it more as an investment. If you are still under the age of 40, you haven't gone for your flipping yet, you haven't done your real estate flip yet, please see it more as an investment. Of course, your kids need the space, right? That has to be part of it, right? Or your family needs the space. But please see it more as an investment, okay? Do not see it as a forever home. It doesn't work. One of my owners spent $800,000 on her renovation. She said it's going to be a forever home. She bought a home at 3.2 million. And guess what? 3 years later, once the SSD is out, I sold it for her. Without me convincing her to sell. She came to me and said, I think I'm going to sell. I want to change another place.
So plans change over time, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so moving forward, 3 beta, we have 786 to 1023. So 786, again, something that is very small, that is not common as a 3 beta. So that one we have to see how things play out, starting from 1.702, which is also a very attractive quantum that we're looking at. And 4 beta at 1227, we're looking at about 2.635 starting. And then the biggest one at 5 beta, we're looking at about
176.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is how the unit mix is going to be like. 2 betas wise, we'll be looking at 2 bed 1 bath and 2 bed 2 bath, and then 3 beta they're splitting it into a compact one with the flex and the flex plus home shelter, and then of course your 4 and 5 betas both have home shelters inside.
Yeah, and that being said, if you look at High Park Residences specifically, right, upon TOP, the 3-bedroom premium units actually did better than the 3-bedroom, even though the 3-bedroom was cheaper, right? This is actually part of our unit selection analysis when we do for our clients as well, right? So do not just enter because it's cheap. Remember this, sometimes it's better to buy a BTO of a young couple than enter a development because it's cheap. And it's very cheap, okay? So please look till the end, watch till the end so that you can see our analysis for this. Yeah.
Okay, so going on to the starting prices, this is what, based on the information that we have now, 2 bed 1 bath, what we're looking at, the starting per square feet is at 2180. And this may be shocking to some people because in the past, Lentor areas per square feet starting, it's 1,009-ish.
Yes.
So something like going at 2.1 plus, close to 2.2. Yeah, but something we also have to take note is that after the area harmonization, the strata areas, meaning your AC latch, is not going to be counted in your strata areas anymore.
That's right.
So in the past, something that is 700 square feet, for example, for a 2 beta, today it will be maybe about a 660. So 40 square feet 30 to 40 square feet of the AC latch will not be counted. Naturally, the per square feet will then increase.
Yes, got it.
Okay, so looking at the usual AC latch, the sizes, what we are seeing is that 1 to 2 beta, it's about 30 square feet. And then 3 beta, it's about 43 square feet, thereabout, depending on how developers are charging, because we've seen developers where they, in the past, AC ledgers are like free to them, so they really just like build gigantic ones and profit out of it.
That's right.
So it's a loophole that government is also closing after they close the loophole for bay windows and like large balconies. Yeah. So pros and cons to after area harmonization, depending on how developers are going to be launching. So this is the very first plot. So it's interesting to see how things are going to be playing out.
That's right. So we have taken the liberty in the next slide to show you what the actual size is after area harmonization effect, as well as what the current size is. And then we have calculated the per square foot as well. So let's just go through that.
Okay.
And it's easier to see. Yeah.
So this is the starting from revised with the AC ledge. So if you're looking at a 2-bed, 1-bath at 527, if we actually add in, let's say, a 30 square feet for AC ledge, you'll be looking at 557 in terms of how it should look like before area harmonization. So if you take a starting price of 1.149 instead of the starting per square feet going from 2180, we'll then be looking at the actual starting per square feet about 2063. So if you want to compare per square feet based on Lentor Mansion versus the other launches in Lentor area, the actual starting per square feet here is something that would be a better benchmark.
Definitely.
Instead of taking like the initial ones. Yeah, so you can see that for the 3-bedroom, 3-bedroom compact or even a 2+ study, which is the smaller 3-bedroom, you'll be looking at 1.7 million starting. So the actual per square feet would be about 2053. Yeah, and then for 4-bedder, actual per square feet, we're looking at 2067. And then 5-bedder at 2064. So even though we've kind of broke down the actual starting per square feet, these per square feet still seem a slight jump from the previous launches that we've actually also seen. Yeah, so we have to see how the quantum plays out once developers actually launch their actual pricings.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next part.
So what we have done is that we have actually done up an entire table to predict the inventory prices because not all the prices are confirmed yet. So if you see those in orangey yellow, this is actually the indicative size as well as the prices, right? And as well as the green one is actually the confirmed ones, yeah? So take a look at it, pause the video if you want to do some comparison. We'll go on to the next slide and then you're able to see a comparison from the 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom in the entire Lentor collective, right? So you can make a better judgment for yourself, okay? And of course, if you want a better opinion, a more curated, individualized opinion for a total price of $0, you can always contact us and then we can give you the analysis that you need. Meet any of us and then we'll share with you what our true perspective is. That's off the camera, okay? So let's go on to compare the 2 bedrooms in Lentor Mansion. Yeah.
Okay, so looking at Lentor Mansion 2-bedder, there is a 2-bed, 1-bath that the floor plan is not out yet. So we'll be looking mainly at a 2-bed, 2-bath, which is a dumbbell layout. So people like or hate it.
Yep.
Some people like it because it's they say it's very efficient in space, there's no corridor. But some people just like their rooms on one side because they feel it's like more privacy.
That's right. So for the dumbbell layout, it's something that we see that 60 to 40%, 60% of people are more interested in the dumbbell layout. So this will actually benefit the resale value of the unit a bit more, right? So that being said, right, let's just make this position, right? If the pricing is correct, okay, consider a 2-bed 2 versus the 2-bed 1 because the 2-bed 1 from our experience, right, is very hard. The resale value is not as high unless, let's say, Lentor Mansion launched at 1.4, let's say for a 2-bed 2-bath and then he's going at like maybe $1 million for a 2-bed 1-bath. And of course you can consider, right? Okay.
Okay, so let's look at the first one, Lentor Mansion, the 2-bed 2-bath dumbbell at 657. If you were to take an estimate about 2,200 per square feet for it, we'll be looking at about 1.445 million starting. And if we were to give a slight increment of 2,220, then we're looking at about 1.465. So we would expect developers to maybe launch a slightly higher per square feet for the 2-bed 2-bath as compared to 2-bed 1-bath, just because the demand for this kind of layouts are usually stronger.
Yeah.
So if you take a look at how it's comparable with maybe Lentor Hills at 700 square feet and Lentor Modern, you would see that the differences are quite small, meaning like the balcony, the room size, even Lentor Modern has a slight flexi over here. Yeah, but in terms of the rest, it's kind of similar to even Lentor Hills. So that's why you can see the differences here would then be the 40 square feet in terms of the AC ledgers. But you will see that the quantum-wise is still slightly higher. So there is still a slight premium for Lentor Mansion because they kind of term it like a little luxury kind of project as compared to the rest.
Yeah.
So I think in the Lentor area itself, just because all the developments are kind of, except one, are under Hong Leong or Guaco Land, they want to kind of package the different developments differently so that they don't really clash or compete with each other. Yeah.
Yes. So before we go on to the next last two slides, actually, I want to ask you for your opinion. So in these 2 bedrooms, if let's say you are a buyer, which one would you consider?
If I am buyer and I had a chance to maybe go back, I'll maybe consider, of course, Lentor Modern or Lentor Hills.
Definitely.
But that's something that...
Let's say we can't turn back time and then we go on to the future right now. Will you consider Hillock, Lentoria or Lentor Mansion?
I think for me, I'll consider Lentor Mansion.
Okay, the reason behind that?
Lentoria or Lentor Mansion. Reason behind that is also because the quantum-wise is very similar to Hillock. And we are 1 km to St. Nick's as compared to, Hillock being at 710, but floor plan wise, I would say effective space is similar, but you're lacking the 1 km, which could be an additional factor when you're looking to exit in the resale market.
Absolutely. So Lentor Mansion, I think personally, I think is a better layout because the pricing seems very attractive. It's just a few K more than Lentoria, right? With an enclosable kitchen. Whereas for open concept kitchen like Lentoria, it's a little harder compared to Lentor Mansion to sell, right? And one thing that I just want to share with you guys is that when I bought my twin view back when I was 22, I think that was 2018, right? Now you can guess my age a little bit. I'm 28 if you're guessing. So Lentoria, it's the same as my twin view, exactly the same layout. So open concept kitchen, 2 bed, 2 bath, and did I find it hard to sell? Okay, the answer is no. Hard to sell because of the open concept kitchen. It was hard to sell because the area had nothing then. And then when I bought it, I really bought into the whole transformation effect, which on hindsight, it was really very stupid. And it was hard to sell because of that. But 2 bedrooms specifically, not everybody has that high demand when it comes to the resale market, right? And a lot of people in the older generation will say, why not just rent it out, okay? But you must understand the yield is not going to be high, okay? So don't consider rental part. So the open concept kitchen, what I'm trying to share with you is that it's not a downer when it comes to selling eventually in the resale market. But if I have the choice and the pricing is going to be the same as what it is now, the indicative, then Lentor Mansion definitely seems to be a bit more attractive, okay? Let's go on to the 3 bedrooms.
Okay, so looking at the compact floor plan, for now, developers only release the bigger ones. So for the compact one, the floor plan is not confirmed, so it's something to be confirmed. But if you were to look at the floor plan at Hillock Green itself, at 861, if you were to include a 40 square feet of AC ledge, you'll be looking at about 900 square feet. So it would similarly look something like that. And at a 2,200 per square feet, we'll be starting at about 1.894 million. So the pricings will be very close to also Lentoria if the developers do launch at this pricing.
That's right. Okay.
Okay, so let's look at the flexi floor plan, which is something also to be TBC, by something that developers have kind of released in the market at 1,023 square feet. So you can see that it includes like a flexi over here. So the good thing about it having like a flexi is that it's not a home shelter. So you have the flexibility to make it into like a study area or helper's room, as compared to if you have a home shelter, it takes up a lot of space and you don't really have the flexibility in turning it into a study also.
That's right. I think it's quite evident that the developers are launching Lentor Mansion as a more luxurious launch in the Lentor Collective because it seems like there's a dry kitchen there. And it's a very rare in mass market launches, right? It shows the exuberant spaces that they actually have, which is something that I kind of enjoy. And looking at the pricing here, with just a few $1,000s a bit higher than Lentoria, it seems like quite a better choice actually.
Okay, so moving on to the next one at Lentor Mansion for 4 bedrooms. This is also a floor plan that developer has released at 1,227 square feet. And if you look slightly lower at a per square feet of 2,184, then our quantum will be looking at about 2.635 million.
Yep, hear you. Just let's go on to a summary of the entire slide, right? Before we go on to our BWA approach, right? And then we also talk a little bit more about when the launch date of Lentor Mansion as well as Lentoria is going to be, right? So let's look at the 3 bedrooms, right? Would you consider the compact or the flexi a bit more?
I think if we had the budget, I think flexi would be better in terms of resellability. Because from what we see from other developments or launches is also that the supply will also be limited, because a lot of people that buy for own stay, if they have a helper, they will need like a storeroom or a flexi room to actually house the helper also. So in terms of the demand, we see the demand higher for this kind of flexi units.
Yes. So on the other hand, some people may have the perspective that if I have $1.8 million, or maybe if I have $2.2 million, right, would I want to spend another $400,000 more on a flexi room like this, right? Because this 400K can be used for another property, right? For another thing, right? So how do you then decide if you are in that kind of situation, okay? So to give you some handlebars, this is something that I would do if I were to decide on this. Number one, of course, we look at the per square foot first, right? Whichever PSF is cheaper, okay, that is good, right? We go for that. We consider that. Number two, most importantly, is that if you are someone who already planned to get a helper and you need a flexi room, so you are mixing a little bit of own stay investment together, then getting the one with flexi is okay, because when it comes to resellability, like what Grace have mentioned, the supply in the market, in the resale market, is going to be lower, which also means they have lesser competition.
Yeah.
Because usually investors, they want to buy the cheaper, the smaller, the better, which is not the right investment philosophy at all. Okay, so just to give you some handlebars. What about 4 bedrooms?
I think out of all this, if I cannot turn back time, Lentoria and Lentor Mansion is something that I would consider, depending on how much Lentor Mansion actually launched in terms of their per square feet.
Yeah.
I feel like for this two, as compared to the rest, right, Lentor Modern, it's too big of a quantum at 2.9, meaning if you were want to exit in the future, you'll be looking at someone who's going to be paying maybe even 3.1 to 3.2 for a 4-bedder in the OCR region.
Yes.
So in terms of quantum play wise, I feel Lentor Mansion and Lentoria, both under the 1km to Senix, would be a better choice as compared to maybe the rest of the developments.
I hear you. So which one will you then consider, Lentoria or Lentor Mansion?
I think for this two, I would pick Lentoria just because it's 100K lesser in terms of the quantum size.
Yeah. And I think the per square foot wise is also a bit more attractive, right? And fun fact for Lentoria, if you take a look at the utilizable space, right, the only benefit of Lentor Mansion, if you can see here, is of course the very big balcony that is not very good when it comes to investments, because it takes in a lot of your utilizable space. And do people really in Singapore, do they really use combined balcony between the bedrooms and the living? The answer is usually when we see sellers talk to us about it, they don't really use it, okay? So when it comes to household shelters, right, if you can see, the utility of the household shelter is either for storage, or it can be double up as a helper's room, right, for a lot of Singaporeans. And that utility in Lentoria serves that same purpose with the yard over there as well. So the utility serves that purpose, right? If you are someone who loves dry kitchen, right, then you definitely are not looking for something for investments. You are just looking for own stay. Then of course Lentor Mansion can consider. I think from what we are sharing over here, you can see that both are paid quite side by side. Ultimately, is what is the price that they're launching, because indicative is always a hook to attract buyers to come down to see the show flat first, after working for developers for a long time. So maybe I want to ask you a question. When is the launch date of Lentoria and when is the launch date of Lentor Mansion?
So for Lentoria wise, the check cutoff was yesterday. Yeah, so the booking day is actually this Saturday. And then for Lentor Mansion wise, we'll be looking at 2nd March for the previews. So if you guys want to take a look at the show flat itself, feel free to also contact us so that we can book like a booking day at the show flat.
That's right. Okay, so interestingly, the reason why I'm asking that question is because if you see how the developers designed this entire thing, right, they had the check cutoff date for Lentoria before the launch of Lentor Mansion. This shows that if Lentoria performs really, really well, do you know how many checks are collected for Lentoria?
No, so today they're going to be doing a check merging. I think as we are doing the filming, the check merging is happening now.
So the check merging is going to launch, and from there you can see whether will developers be optimistic in their pricing at Lentor Mansion or actually not as optimistic. So usually developers will look at that. Okay, so now let's go into the broad approach: buy, wait, or avoid. And I think we will just give a summary of instead of us going specifically to 2, 3, or 4 bedrooms, right? Let's just give a entire macro answer for the development, because we don't have all the information that's available right now. Okay, so I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, and we're going to say B, W, or A. Buy, wait, or avoid.
Okay.
As of now.
Okay.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Wait.
Okay, wow. People are like, wait, Lentoria, you said buy. But then Lentor Mansion, you say wait. Okay, maybe you can explain your answer.
Yeah. I think mainly because we don't have all the floor plans yet, and it's the first launch after area harmonization. So I think I'll be a little bit more careful in terms of the per square feet that I'm entering in, making sure it makes sense even though there is no AC ledge included in the strata area. Also, I would say the sizes that are being released is a little bit weird as compared to like maybe other developments, like 700 plus square feet for a 3-bedder, right? You really have to see how things actually play out, because for some 3-bedders that are very small, what we realize is that it's very hard to exit in the market.
Yes.
Because people just find it very hard to accept.
How to stay.
Correct.
For some.
Yeah. So 700 plus, right? I would maybe guess that potentially maybe one of the bedrooms you're not able to fit like a regular queen bed.
Yeah.
Or maybe you can only fit like a single bed. So essentially, marketing wise, it's like 3-bedder, but if you look at it, it's like a 2+ study.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you really have to see, I don't know, how creative the developers are in like squeezing the 3-bedder in.
Developers are really one of the more creative stakeholders I've met in my whole life in order to squeeze things, right?
Yes.
Why I say wait, very similar to what you said, right? Number one is that we don't have the full floor plan as well as the pricing yet. And number two, I said wait, right? Because let's take a look at how Lentor perform. And from there, you will see how developers do it. Because sometimes the starting from price can be just one unit that is facing either the bin center or the substation, and then the rest is a jump in the per square foot, right? Developers are humans. I always tell people this. Developers are humans. So don't think that it's like a machine with an algorithm to come up with the pricing. They don't do that, okay? They don't do that, okay? So we hope that you've enjoyed this very quick summary of the new launch review. And of course, if you think that this benefited any friends, share it to them if they're looking at Lentor Mansion or Lentora. But I tell you what's most important. Most important is that if you can contact us through the QR code from here, you will then have a more specialized, curated answer to work through with you and journey with you through the entire investment journey. At JNA Investments, the reason why we created a specific team and we just onboarded our first investment analyst, right, who is part of the team. And the reason why is because we feel that there is a market gap where a lot of real estate agents or real estate agents team, instead of just focusing on selling, they don't focus a lot on the investment aspect of it, right? So we are increasing our capabilities because we believe that investment is 4 generations and one person in that generation just to bite the bullet and to go, right? So a lot of us, we are the first in our generation to invest in real estate so that our future generations can benefit from either the mistakes we have made or the success stories that we have, right? So if you're someone who wants to make a change in your life because you want to invest in property, I tell you what, don't just trust yourself. Have a third opinion. That's where we come in because we have served 8 clients, right? With all of which 19.8% per annum returns. And we have the track record to prove that. We're not giving you concepts. It's easy to come up with concepts, but we have a specific investment mandate that we follow through. And not only that, post-purchase, the journey is even more important. Should you sell after 3 years or should you not? Should you flip or not? Should you wait a little bit more? What about your current portfolio? What else can we do to maximize it? Okay, so you can contact us through the QR code here. Send it to your friends, screenshot this, send it to your friends, and talk about us more in the forums. Actually,
Talk more about Jarvis.
No, so we don't really read the forums. But then sometimes when they are doing some research. Right, they will go and see the names. So the Boleao Grace will go and Google some things like that.
And I'll send to Jarvis.
Yeah, correct. Just screenshot that. But thank you all for your support, right? For some of you guys, you have followed us through this journey since 7 years ago. And what you're seeing is that GNA hasn't been shrinking. But even though I look like I've expanded in terms of...
No, like he's been shrinking. Go and compare him with like the videos last year.
This year. Okay, so but you know that our capabilities have actually expanded because we have always thought about consumers first in our minds. So that is how we are spending money to build our capabilities, okay? So we love all of you. We hope that you can change your lives through investments. It is so important. And definitely we will see you for the next one. This is Jarvis.
This is Grace.
Bye-bye.